Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. Today is Saturday and it is 12 noon. And I just want to thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me today for another episode of From the Desk of Dr. Ron. Well, the first thing that I always like to do when I come on the air is give a shout out to my mentor. I have several mentors, but this one in particular I shout out every single broadcast, and that is Dr. Hunt. Dr. Hunt and I have been traveling in life together for 30 plus years. And out of that 30 plus years, he has been a blessing to both me and my family, as well as I have been a blessing to him and his family. And let me talk about mentors for just a second. You know, mentors are someone that helps navigate through this thing called life. They have been here and traveled many roads, and they're able to tell you which way to go and how to do it and what's going to work out best, in this thing called life. And I tell you, I don't know where I would be if it were not for the mentors, plural, that I have in my life. And before the show, I was talking with somebody and I was sharing with them about the 20 plus years that I have been a mentor in their life and how wonderful of an experience it had been to have been a mentor for them to help them with their children, life experiences, and things of that nature. So mentoring work. It works. Mentorship works. So I give testimony about my mentor just like I want you to go out and get a mentor, somebody that you can trust, somebody that's willing to pray for you, somebody that's willing to be there for you, and then be a blessing to them, because that's what it's like. It's a two-way street. You bless them as they bless you. So definitely get a mentor, and let's keep this thing moving. All right, I want to talk about the closer we get to the election, the more the lies heat up. Now, we're less than 20 days away from the election, and in my local area, we have early voting has started probably beginning of the month, but I live outside of the city of Chicago, so I'll be able to go locally in my neighborhood and be able to go on this week and cast my vote. I vote early, and the reason why I vote early because election day always falls on a Tuesday, and I have a show on Tuesday, so I'm not going to miss the opportunity to vote, on a show day, because go stand in long lines, and it's just inconvenient. So I always exercise my right to vote early. I've only voted by mail maybe once in my lifetime, but I go push the buttons, go to the machine, say hi to all the election judges, greet them. I don't bring them no donuts because I ain't running for office, because that's what, one year I did as a election judge. All of the candidates came in, brought us donuts, brought us lunch. They just wanted to celebrate us as being people that were on duty receiving votes, all day long. Because when you're a judge, you get there at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I happen to be the equipment operator, so I went to class where I had to set up all the machines, make sure everything is running, make sure all the equipment is there for people to come in and cast their vote. And in my polling place that I worked that day was in a senior building, and we had 2 different precincts where you can vote on election day. So it was quite an adventure. I tell you, the things that go on in the senior building, Lord have mercy. I tell you, they got it going on. But I want you to understand that the last 3 or 4 weeks I've been talking about, what side of history you're going to be on. We shall overcome. And now the closer that we get to the election, the lies are heating up. Now, I just want you to be on the right side of history. And I always encourage people, when you are involved in listening to things in media, fact check everything. Nobody is perfect. Nobody. I don't care whether they're Republican, Democrat, or whatever. They're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. But I explained this to somebody just on this past week. You got to pick the lesser of two evils. So if you got two evil entities and you know one don't like you no matter what because of the color of your skin, that's not a person that I'm likely to side with. I'll give you an example. When you look down through history, when they had this thing called the Civil War, when during the Civil War, there were many blacks, colored, people of color. When they were freed from the plantation, they joined the Union Army. And the Union Army was fighting to keep them free. But on the other side was the army from the South, which they had slaves, because they were still slaves, that were fighting alongside of the plantation owners to keep them in slavery. Y'all stay with me. So when you asked those former slaves why are they fighting alongside of their plantation owners to try and keep slavery in the South, they said, well, we get 3 hots in a cot. We know what they're going to do for us. They're going to beat us. We can tolerate the misuse in which they're going to give to us. And they was willing to fight to keep that institution in progress. Now, the ones that were fighting on the side of the Union Army, who was helping to bring freedom to the South, they said, like, ain't no way in the world I want to go back into the South and deal with the atrocities that took place during slavery. There's no way I want to subject my kids and my wife and my family to the atrocities that the slave masters invoked upon them. So, perception. Some thought that was a good way of life, to have the slave masters come down and rape your daughters and rape your wife, and you had to be a witness to it. Even in some cases, raped you as a male. So they thought that was a good life, and they were willing to die for it. They fought on the side of the South to keep that life that they should have been trying to escape from. So I look at this election that we got coming up. There are many people fighting on the side of the persecutors, the people that don't even like you. They have been talking on this week about how the black man can sway this election one way or the other. And the women, of course, are voting to keep their rights and the respect and control of their bodies. That's a very valid point, because at some point in time in history, women didn't have rights over their own body. But yet, men get to make decisions on what women should be able to do with their bodies. At one point in time, philosophy used to be barefoot and pregnant, and chained to the stove. That was a mentality, and Caucasians and Europeans believed that 110%. That was the way they felt. Women, they couldn't smoke cigarettes. If they get caught smoking cigarettes, they get beat with a broom. Okay, so we've all come a long way through time and history. And now that we're getting close to the election, day for the presidential election, we have an opportunity to make history. We have an opportunity to be on the right side of history. I believe that Vice President Harris has an opportunity to be able to put together an opportunity where people can work on both sides of the aisle, Republican and Democrats working together to try and unite the country for the good of the country, not just a political party. So lies are heating up. People are talking about, how horrible, Vice President Harris is. Well, she's only been vice president, and she worked in Congress, and she worked as a prosecutor in the state of California. And her history, may not be perfect, but I think that she is the lesser of two evils. I see that we have black Congress members that have not made their requests known to get a deal right now. Many of members of Congress are voting or up for re-election, and they're voting. They're getting people to vote for them. That's something that we need to pay attention to. Who are we going to send back to Washington, D.C., and they haven't spoke up on our behalf all the time they've been in office? And when I say us, I mean black folks, people of color, African Americans, whatever you go by this week. We need somebody that can speak up on our behalf, that's willing to fight for us to be able to get some, opportunities to survive better in our communities, to be able to put sanctions and restrictions on greedy, enterprises like grocery store owners. People are upset over the price and the cost of living. Landlords raising the price of rent. Grocery stores are raising the price of groceries. Transportation people are raising the price of delivering the freight. But yet our incomes are not going up. So they're squeezing us where we have to have 2 and 3 jobs in order to be able to feed our families. And it's not an opportunity to prosper in America like it should be. So we need to vote for the lesser of two evils. We need to go and side with the North instead of the South. That's why I bought that out. I don't want to still be in slavery. I didn't like it, the idea and the concept of slavery. And that's why I've always been an entrepreneur all my life. I'm not a person that likes to punch a clock and continuously working for just enough to keep coming back to work next week. Wow. I know some people haven't got to the point where they know how to be an entrepreneur yet, but keep trying to find your way. You will. Become an entrepreneur. Be the person that controls your destiny. Be the person that leaves a legacy for your families. So it's something to think about, that the closer we get to the election, the more the lies heat up. The lies are designed to discourage us from not voting at all. Our ancestors shed blood for us to have the right to vote. Exercise what your great-great-grandparents died for. Get out there and vote. And then vote for a person that can help you leave a legacy for your family going forward. Don't be like the South and just want to go back on the plantation because the master didn't treat me so bad. Whoo, yeah, I said that. So I encourage you all to exercise your right to vote. Let's make history together. Let's vote for Vice President Harris so she can have an opportunity to help us all, to build a bridge that will allow us to be able to go into the future and write the pages of history so that we can have an opportunity to leave a legacy for the future. Let's not crash and burn. I'm going to say this. There and the governmental enforcement agencies are afraid that we're going to have another January 6th if President Trump, former President Trump, doesn't get his way. And if he's not elected, they feel like he's going to create another civil war and burn down as much of this country as he possibly can. Well, let me just give you an example what that would look like. If you've been keeping up with any of the wars in Europe, look at Ukraine. The Russians have went over there and destroyed every landmark, every building, every industry in Ukraine that existed. So now when they end this war, they got to start all over again, building up their country back to what they used to be, because the war destroyed everything that they had. So that's an example of what a war looks like. If you look at what's going on in Israel, the fighting that's going on has destroyed hospitals, schools, residents. That's an example of what a war looks like. So we don't want that in the United States under no circumstances, because then we'd have to rebuild this country and no telling what it will look like if it's rebuilt. So that's enough. I'm not going to rant and rave. We know history. We're looking at history. We're seeing what's going on. We're looking all around us. And I just want to encourage any and everybody that listen to the sound of my voice to just be on the right side of history. Fact check everything. The lies are heating up. You know, don't let them make an enemy out of your own common sense. And don't tell yourself, can't a woman do nothing for you to lead you nowhere? Don't tell yourself that. If you're a man or a woman and you got a problem with a woman telling you something, just think about your mama. Your mama was a woman, and she told you everything you needed to know how to survive in this life. So there was a woman in your life, all of our lives, that told us things, and we followed what she said. And we used to sing a song back in the day, I'll always love my mama. Now, I know Vice President Harris ain't your mama, but she's got the wisdom of a mother. Okay? That's enough. I can go on and on and on, but I ain't going to keep doing it. I want to invite you guys to go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. When you get over there, I want you to take a look at all of the advertisers, all of the affiliates that I have on my website. Support them. They make it possible for me to do what I do. Okay, I appreciate you guys. When you click on those tabs and you go over to the website, you get a chance to see. I've been running a series of Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award winners, and we have Mr. Walter Jones coming up. My old 8th grade teacher, now you know where I learned also. You'll find out where I learned some of my bad habits at. Come on by this coming Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time and hear what Mr. Jones has to say. He's going to defend himself now, because, I'm going to pick on him, tell him all the bad stuff that I picked up over the decades, because I learned it from him as a gym teacher, but come on down and hear what Mr. Jones has to say this Tuesday. You do not want to miss this Tuesday. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to talk about how he feels about receiving a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. So I'm looking forward to hearing what he got to say. Also want to invite you guys to come on out each and every Saturday. Visit me each and every Saturday at 12 noon. I look forward to bringing you another episode from the desk of Dr. Ron and what's on my mind. You don't want to miss it. Come and join me. I want to thank all those that have made contributions up to this point in time. Thank you so very much. These are all the ways that you can make contributions. Please continue to do so. I need your support. And while you're here, please subscribe, like, and share. Hit that subscribe, like, and share button. Tell somebody, send this out to somebody that you think can benefit off of the words that I have just put out there. I just want to thank you guys. I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Please continue to support. You be safe. Cast your vote. Be on the right side of history. I love you guys.